Hello, and thank you for listening to this episode of the Moore's October Rants. Today's episode is going to be titled Reviewing 2024 and Plans for 2025. One of the biggest lessons I learned in 2024 is that people don't always mean what they say, and you can't always trust them. This realization isn't new, but it hit me harder this year than ever before. It reinforced the importance of believing in myself and relying on my own strength. As much as we'd like to think we can depend on others, 2024 made it clear that self reliance is essential. People will let you down, and that's just part of life. Ultimately, you have to depend on yourself to navigate through the ups and downs. I also learned that many people's opinions about me, and likely about others too, are meaningless. Often, people don't even understand how they feel about themselves, let alone anyone else. They don't know what they're going to have for dinner, much less have an accurate or meaningful perspective about me. I've ranted about this before, but it's worth mentioning again because it's freeing once you realize how little their opinions matter. When you stop feeding into negativity and focus on your own path, life feels a lot lighter. Looking back at a video I made at the end of 2023 about my hopes for 2024, I remember saying that I wanted to avoid feeding into negativity and pointless arguments. Unfortunately, I fell into the same trap this year. Despite my intentions, I found myself in several arguments that led absolutely nowhere. It's easy to get caught up in the heat of the moment, whether it's hurt feelings, ego, or unmet expectations driving the conflict. But by the end of the year, I was reminded how much time I'd wasted on arguments that didn't matter. In 2025, I'm determined to break this cycle. I've said this before, but I'm really going to try hard to stick to it in 2025. I want to avoid unproductive arguments. It's not about ignoring everything. It's okay to stand up for yourself and share your feelings, but there has to be a balance. Some lighthearted arguments can be fun when you're not taking yourself too seriously, but the emotional ones that ruin your day, those aren't worth it. I need to remember that it's not my responsibility to change anyone's mind. People who are looking for a fight can look elsewhere because I'm done engaging in drama. This especially applies to family. Some of my worst arguments in 2024 were with family members, and those can cut the deepest. In 2025, I want to work on letting things go. If someone says something I disagree with, I'm going to try to let them speak and then move on instead of staying stuck in the argument. It's not easy, but I think it will make life a lot more peaceful. Letting go of the need to be right all the time feels like a skill worth mastering. On a different note, one of the highlights of my year was listening to audiobooks. I really enjoyed We've Got Issues by Dr. Phil McGraw. The book dives into cultural issues in America, including cancel culture and how we can improve as a society. It was packed with interesting statistics and insights, and I learned a lot from it. Another great listen was Walking Disaster by Derek Whibley, the lead singer of Sum 41. As a longtime fan of the band, I loved hearing about his life and the behind the scenes stories of the music industry. Both books were fascinating, and I'm looking forward to discovering more audiobooks in 2025. I try to make it a goal to listen to at least one new audiobook each year, and it's become a tradition I really enjoy. Audiobooks have a way of broadening your perspective and introducing you to new ideas or stories. In 2025, I'll definitely be continuing this tradition and sharing my favorites in next year's review. It's exciting to think about all the things I'll learn and experience through these books. Another thing I realized in 2024 is that not everyone you meet is meant to stay in your life. Sometimes people come and go, and that's okay. Just because someone shares a moment with you doesn't mean they're meant to be a long-term friend. This year, I've learned to go with the flow. If a relationship develops into a genuine friendship, that's wonderful. But if it doesn't, I've learned not to force it or set unrealistic expectations. It's all part of letting life unfold naturally. Setting expectations too high is often a recipe for disappointment. Not everyone is your friend, but not everyone is your enemy either. That's an important mindset I'm trying to carry into 2025. My focus will be on doing my own thing, and if people want to join me for the ride, they're welcome to. At the same time, I'm not going to tolerate disrespect or inconsistency from people. Life's too short to put up with negativity. One of the boundaries I plan to stick to in 2025 is making better use of the block button. If someone disrespects me, trolls me, or brings unnecessary drama into my life, I won't hesitate to cut ties. I've always been the type to give people multiple chances, but I've realized that's not always healthy. Protecting my peace means not giving energy to people who don't deserve it. All in all, 2024 was a year of hard lessons and growth. As I look toward 2025, I'm feeling optimistic about the changes I want to make. I'm focusing on self-reliance, meaningful connections, and cutting out the noise of negativity. I know there will be challenges, but I'm ready to take them on with a clearer mindset and a stronger sense of purpose. This is the last rant for 2024. If you listen in 24, I really appreciate it, and I look forward to making more rants. And 2025, I appreciate any of you watching. Have a wonderful 2025. Goodbye.